What's going on, YouTube? So we're going to be doing an at-home, do-it-yourself transmission fluid exchange. We will not be changing the filter or the pan gasket at this time. We'll do that in a separate video. This does not just apply to this 97 F250. You can do this with just about any car or truck. In my situation, since I have a truck, it's really easy to put a 5-gallon bucket underneath, and we are going to start it up once we disconnect one of these transmission lines right here. We have two transmission lines, one that runs the hot tranny fluid in and one that runs the cool transmission fluid out. Now, truthfully, I don't know which one is which on this, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to disconnect this one over here, and I'm going to pull the hose down and run it straight towards this bucket, get it as close as I can. I should be able to get it down in there, and what's going to happen is if this is not the inlet, the side that's pushing fluid in, then the fluid's going to shoot out from the very top where the hose attaches, and that's what I'll have this bucket right here for. I'll make sure it's lined up so that it shoots straight, hopefully, hopefully straight down into the bucket. That'll be a little fun. We'll figure that out. But what we're going to do is disconnect this hose, run it down into the bucket, and get the bucket situated to where it's close to that, so that no matter where it comes out of, it's aiming for the bucket. We're going to fire it up, and we're going to let the transmission pump actually pump its own fluid out. And then what we're going to do is, as it starts running out of fluid, I've got, what have I got here? 4, 8, 12, 16. I've got 20 quarts of the appropriate fluid for this truck, which is Dextron Mercron, basically Dextron 3/Mercron. And as it runs out, we're going to slowly pour another gallon into the transmission dipstick tube here. And as we pour that in, it's going to circulate from the pan through the filter. It's going to go back through the transmission, and then it's going to come right back out here. And by the time we get through with the fourth one, the fluid coming out of this thing should be bright pink, and you have done your transmission fluid exchange. So it's really important when you do this, number one, to make sure that you can access and get to your transmission inlet and return lines, so you can disconnect one of them, and make sure you have a drain pan or something that you can aim that hose at to make sure you catch it instead of getting it all over the ground. Make sure you have the appropriate fluid, and make sure you get plenty of it. I can tell you right now that if you were to go to a shop to have a transmission fluid exchange done on this, you're going to be looking at about $120-ish, whereas this fluid costs me right at $50 for all the fluid. So is it a huge savings? Yeah. You know, you're saving somewhere around $70 by doing this yourself. And it's really easy, and you can do this with most vehicles. You just have to figure out where your transmission inlet and return lines are so that you can disconnect the appropriate one. So we're going to get set up here, and I'll return to the video. Alright guys, we got the hose lined up. At the same time, we've got the cooler lined up so that everything's in the same spot. So no matter how this goes, we should hit the bucket. This can be difficult to do with one person because you got to hope that you got everything lined up right. So let's fire it up. Hope for the best. It's not perfect, but you do what you got to do, right? There's a little bit back there I want to clean up, not too much. You basically just sit here and wait for this stuff to run out. Get you a new bottle. In this case, it's Dextron Mercron. The old stuff. It's about $11.50 a bottle. And that stuff that's leaking back there, I got some of that oil absorber. I'll throw on the ground when we're done here. When it starts running low, a lot of times it'll want to spew. So kind of step back in case it does that. That's pretty nasty transmission fluid, guys. It's not what it's supposed to look like. Alright, you see how it's starting to slow down a lot. Now it's going to want to spew. You're going to want to get some fluid in there, because you don't want to run your transmission dry. So go ahead and just fill her up 1 gallon at a time until it starts coming out bright pink, and then you can run it down quite a bit more. Make sure you don't overfill it. It doesn't so much matter right now as we're flushing it out. It's not going to hurt it any like this. The goal is to get all this old stuff out, get some new stuff in. Alright, so what we're doing now is, you can see the difference. The old fluid was that brown color over there. I stuck my finger and it splashed some of the fluid coming out of it. Now on the side you can see it's a definitely a reddish pink color. You can also see in the light it's definitely a pinkish red color. We've gone through 12 quarts plus what's in it now. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for this to slow down and stop pouring out, at least slow down a lot, and we're going to shut it off, put everything back together, and fill it back up with fluid again. Now that the hose is pretty much done, we're going to go ahead and shut it off, hook everything back up, and then fill the transmission. And just real quick, you guys see how pink that is? That's the color you want it, guys, not that mucky brown stuff. Alright guys, once you've hooked your hoses back up, fill up your transmission to the proper level. Keep an eye on it as you're pouring the fluid into it, and make sure it's nice and warmed up. Take it for a test drive, come back, check the fluid level again. If it's over full, you can just disconnect that hose and a little bit of it out at a time. And if it's not full enough, just add more fluid until it's to the full mark of the hot line. And that's it, guys. You're done. I hope this video finds you well and helps you out. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and be safe out there.